Reliance acquires leading international food wholesaler Metro AG's cash and carry business in India for over 2,800 crores. The acquisition is likely to further strengthen their footprint and supplier network.
Alkyl amines in focus after DGTR recommends extension of anti-dumping duty on monoisopropylamine, a key solvent used in pharmaceuticals, agrochemicals and dyes.
A big block deal in Ajanta Pharma sees over 1.5% equity change hands, with promoters likely to have sold some stake. The stock, however, higher by about 3.5%. Important to watch buyers.
It's a subdued debut for winemaker Sula Vineyard. Stock lists at a premium of about 1% but has fallen off. The listing price is now down 4% in trade. Good morning, you're tuned into Chartbusters here on CNBC-TV18. I'm Sonal Bhutra and with me is Mangalam Malu. Mangalam, good morning. Well, yet another day where we did see opening gains, but that has been sold into. The Nifty right now is at the day's low. It's a 52-point cut. SGX Nifty was indicating a bumper gain for our own markets, but that's not been the case. And that is something that we saw yesterday as well. The mid-cap side of things also not looking good. That particular index, that's the one which is underperforming with cuts of 1.3%. And you know, yesterday for a brief period of time, mid-cap index was doing well and suddenly there was a sharp fall. That is continuing today. So the market texture really is selling from the top. We will have to see whether that continues or not, but across the board, their selling is what we are seeing.
We are, and that was, it was there for the taking, because the SGX Nifty indicated an uptick right in the zone where a lot of calls had been written. It is weekly options expiry, and the market had been meandering in that range. So selling that opening high was something that, people perhaps thought was a low full toss. They went ahead and did that. Now the question is, where we are on the Nifty is an important zone. 18,130 coincides with the 50-day moving average of 18,140. We're just below the 50-day moving average on the Nifty, a mark that has been an important support for us. So do we see some support here or do we fall further is the big question. If the Nifty bank is something to go by, it has fallen below the 20-day moving average yesterday, and that decline continues for that index as well. So were that to continue for the Nifty itself, we would see further weakness. And if the mid-cap index, like you pointed out, has something to go by, the street is definitely worried about the frontline indices as well. So let's get in some levels then. Sachidanand Uttekar joins in for a quick technical check on the market. Sachi, your thoughts at this juncture where we are seeing all the rallies being sold into?
Good morning, Mangalam. Mangalam, clearly the texture is on sell on rise, and this is what we have been adhering to. We continue with the view that the level of around 18,060 should be achieved, and probably today we may see those levels getting re-established. So clearly, if you look at the Nifty, 5 and 20 crossover has been established at 18,440. So unless we don't see a swing above 18,440 on a positional basis, we don't see the overall texture to be changed. So clearly, the way Nifty has slipped below its previous day swing low, we don't see an immediate support before 18,060. So we continue with our bias on the negative side. Even right now, the opportunity is to create fresh short positions. The trailing stop loss from here on should be placed at around 18,240 when it comes to spot level. And we are expecting a move towards 18,060 before the expiry settles somewhere close to 18,000 or 18,060 itself. Okay. When we look at Bank Nifty, it has still managed to sustain above its previous day swing low, which is placed around 42,360. But the kind of data we are seeing right now, we feel that probably there could be a swing towards 42,000 eventually. So even here, some shorts can be placed. The stop loss should be placed at around 42,760, and an intraday target could be placed somewhere close to 42,100.
Okay, point taken. By the way, a couple of stocks which are at the day's low from the Nifty pack. We have NTPC, Tata Consumer also at the day's low, L&T, BPCL, Titan, ITC2 is in focus, and we have a lot of pressure coming in for these IT stocks as well. So something like a Wipro and Infosys also at the day's low. Also ICICI Bank is something that is seeing a lot of pressure in trade today. But Sachidanand, any individual technical picks that you can talk about?
Well, since the outlook is on the bearish side, we prefer fresh shorts in when it comes to cement stocks, especially Ultratech Cement. If you look at the weekly structure, the stock has already declined below its 5-week exponential moving average. If you look at the RSI on the weekly scale, has already given a negative crossover. So psychological support of around 7,000 was breached yesterday, and probably we may see a follow-through action continuing for the next couple of trading sessions. So right now we are recommending fresh shorts here for a target of around 6,800. The stop loss should be placed at around 6,990. The second counter which is on our radar is escorts. Again here for the last 3 weeks we have seen distribution signs. If you look at the immediate level of 2180, which was its 5-week exponential moving average, it has breached below the same, and we are expecting that the daily chart flag breakdown which has been exhibited, it is giving us a target somewhere close to 2030, which is also coinciding with its 20-week exponential moving average. So fresh shorts are recommended even in escorts. The stop loss should be placed at 2165 for a pattern target of around 2030.
Okay, all right, Sajidanand, thank you so much for joining us and taking us through your technical picks as well. It's time to shift focus to our special segment where we'll get you a few ideas for profit from Money Control Pro. Neha Dave of moneycontrol.com joins us now to talk about a stock that she's tracking closely. Neha.
Today's stock idea is PB Fintech. The company posted a significant improvement in its financial performance in the quarter gone by. PB Fintech's revenue doubled in Q2 FY23, aided by healthy growth in its key business segment, that is Policybazaar, mainly because of improving online insurance sales. The lending business also saw a good traction, which is conducted through the online platform Paisabazaar. Consequently, the consolidated net loss of the company narrowed in Q2 FY23. The most encouraging bit is the management's guidance on path to profitability. PB Fintech has guided to post profit in FY24 and sees profit touching 1,000 crores in FY27. The company's valuation has significantly moderated as the stock has nosedived since its listing. In addition to valuation turning reasonable, PB Fintech has posted a strong business growth momentum and profitability is in sight. Currently, the stock is trading at around 8 times revenue estimated for FY24. Moreover, the revised draft regulatory proposals issued by the insurance regulator IRDA on 23rd November has reduced the regulatory risk on commissions. So investors should keep this stock on their radar.
All right, we take that point. But with that, let's take a short break and you don't go anywhere because on the other side, we get chatting with the management of Sula. It's been a subdued listing for India's largest winemaker. What is the business prospect from here on for Sula itself? We get chatting with Rajiv Samant, who's the MD and CEO of the company.
Electronics Limited, one of the largest fractional horsepower motor manufacturers in India, launches an initial public offering of equity shares of the face value of Rs 5 each in a price band of Rs 234 to Rs 247 per equity share. Bid offer opens on December 20, 2022, closes on December 22, 2022. For risk factors and more details, please refer to the RHP available on the websites of SEBI, the book running lead managers, and the stock exchanges.
पुत्रवीर कमाल दिखा अपना, कभी टेबल बन जाता है तो कभी अलमारी।
वीर MDF आम प्लाईवुड से ज्यादा मजबूत, ज्यादा किफायती, दिखे चकाचक, टिके टकाटक।
Got trapped? Do not let commissions and incentives lure you into investing in random schemes. Don't believe in false promises. Be careful. After all, it's your own money.
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
Radiant Cash Management Services Limited. Initial public offering of equity shares of face value of 1 rupee each through the book building process with a price band of 94 rupees to 99 rupees per equity share. Bid offer opens on Friday, December 23, 2022 and closes on Tuesday, December 27, 2022. For risk factors and more details, please refer to the RHP available on the websites of SEBI, the book running lead managers and the stock exchanges.
Welcome back. You're watching us here on Chartbusters. Let's talk about Sula Vineyards. It's been a subdued listing for the company. It listed at a premium of about 1% to the issue price, but now it has sold off, currently lower by about 4%. To discuss the business outlook for the company, we do have Rajiv Samant, who's the MD and CEO of the company, joining in. Rajiv, you know, the last time you spoke with us, you mentioned that you might enter the 2,000 rupee plus price bracket, but nearly half your revenues come in from, anywhere between 700 to 950 in terms of the price band. Just wanted to understand, what kind of growth do you see in the 2000 plus category? And now that you're listed, you're at liberty to tell us a lot more about the future prospects of the company. Can you tell us what does your revenue and revenue mix look like going forward?
Hi, it's great to be here. Today is a real milestone in our journey, in my personal journey. We just got listed today. And I want to remind that this is a very long-term story. You know, people are always saying, isn't India really all about whiskey? Yes, whiskey is the king in India, and we are not looking to dethrone the king anytime soon. We have a fantastic journey ahead. Wine is growing faster than whiskey, than spirits, than beer. This is the story. It's a long road ahead. Sula is the leader in that. India is changing so fast. Wine has terrific prospects here, and it's at every price segment. So, though 2,000 rupees is important, for us, most of our wine is below 1,000 rupees. So the 700 to 1,000 rupee segment is, in fact, our most important segment. That's where you have the iconic Sula Vineyards logo wines, and that's really what India knows to be premium Indian wine. And there's a lot of terrific growth ahead in that segment.
Okay. Mr. Samant, when you're talking about terrific growth going forward as well, first half for the company has been really strong as well. You've been able to do margins of 29%. Profit growth has been decent as well. Can you give us a sense of how growth will be in FY23 and FY24? What will bring in this growth as well? Will it be the change in mix of your products? Will it be more focus on other high margin products like wine tourism, for example?
Yeah, I can't give you very specific numbers. What I can say is if you look at our prospectus, Technopak has projected strong double-digit growth for wine in this 5-year period. And definitely, I can't see any reason to disagree with them. At this point, we are seeing revenues growing strong double digits. Of course, H1 was a terrific H1. Revenues were up 40% over H1 last year. We don't expect that kind of growth in H2. That's going to moderate. But we see growth across the board. And wine tourism is really booming. So, you know, hotels are full. More and more people coming out to our vineyards. You know that Sula is one of the most visited vineyards on earth. Over 3 lakh people enter our doors every year. And that doesn't show any signs of slowing down, and that's a very profitable business for us. More than being really profitable for us, it's also the place where so many people taste their first glass of wine for the first time.
Yes.
And that's really helping us to explode.
Yes, I do get that point, and that's something that we've seen in terms of margins as well. Right now, what is the proportion of revenues coming in from wine tourism? And you did mention the last time we had spoken to you that this is the high margin business for you. So will you look at increasing the pie of revenues coming in from here?
So I should point out that something like 85% of our wine revenue, of our revenue today, comes in from our own branded wines. Wine tourism right now is less than 10%. I don't see that mix changing in a very big way because, in fact, I see more growth ahead for our wine brands. That's really our main business across the country. There's so many states where we are and cities where we are barely scratching the surface. That's really where I see really good growth going. Wine tourism has, to some extent, limitations on growth. Obviously, it's capex heavy if you're going to add additional rooms, etc. So I see this kind of ratio is probably going to be pretty stable in the couple years to come.
Rajiv, you know, it's interesting. We speak about trivia. The name Sula comes from your mother, Sulabha. and that is also the wine that does extremely well for you. But what I'm looking at is the brand that comes from your name. Rajiv Samant has compressed into brand Rasa, which is again the premium category. Again, just wanted to understand what is your positioning going to be there, because everyone who has their first wine, I wouldn't know much, but what I gather anecdotally is that everyone who has their first wine would be a local wine, would be the sub-1,000 rupee one. But every time they have to premiumize, they will look for imported opportunities which they believe are better tasting, more established. In that case, in a market which is just about 1-2% of the overall alcohol market in India, how do you plan to premiumize, and how big does Rasa become going forward?
So, the story of Indian consumer brands, and especially when you talk about food, alcobev, there's a lot of premiumization going on in India, and Rasa fits perfectly into that story. The growth of Rasa is much faster than the category of wine as a whole. So more and more Indians are realizing that you don't have to only reach out for imported wine once you're ready to spend 1,500 rupees. Rasa is winning awards across the world. Our Rasa Cabernet Sauvignon was the first Indian wine to win a medal in the Global Cabernet Masters this year. So that's just a testament to the quality that today we're able to produce. These wines go through barrel aging, and in fact they can compare well with imported wines that are at double the price. And more discerning Indian consumers are realizing that, wine consumers are realizing that, and I see a very sunny time ahead for our Rasa, for our source brands, which are our premium level brands.
Okay, sunny times ahead. Mr. Samant, I wanted to ask you about your capex plans as well. You are talking about additional capacity coming in. A capex of 130 crore rupees is what you've planned here. What kind of opportunity do you see here from this capex? How much will this increase capacity to? And what is the asset turn, the additional revenues you expect?
So that 130 crores, I should point out, is over a couple of years. So right now we are building a 6 million litre capacity new winery, brownfield, at our Dindori site to augment our existing 14 million litres of capacity. So it's a pretty significant expansion, and that just speaks to what we see as our potential for growth in the years ahead. With the double-digit growth that we see happening, we need to put in this kind of capex right now. Once this cellar is in, we don't expect to have to build another cellar for at least a couple years after that. But that's exactly what this capex is mostly being used for right now.
Thank you. Rajiv, just the final question then. You spoke about double-digit revenue coming in for the industry. I presume you would grow faster in that. Just plugging in the numbers, it implies that you could be a 600 to 700 crore brand in the next couple of years. Is that range that the street is working with correct, with margins closer to that 28 to 30% brand? You can comment on that. And wine as a business is inventory days heavy. So what do you plan to do to reduce your cash conversion cycles?
See, 600 to 700 crore, I'm not going to argue with that. But, our timeline in this is much longer term. So yes, next year, I guess that's important for the market. But in terms of wine, of course, horizons are long. Definitely, we've got some plans for next year. I'm looking 5 years out. I see no reason why, in a few years down the road, this should not be a 1,000 crore company. I don't see any factors that are really going to push back on that. And really, I would say that that's something that we definitely have in mind. And in terms of margins, we've done some terrific work over the last couple of years, really to streamline things. So I definitely see margins remaining stable. And, it's not a bad guess to say that it's going to be in the 25% plus EBITDA margin range. That's definitely something that we're looking at. Of course, in the last 6 months, 9 months, the margin has been far higher than that, as your colleague just mentioned earlier.
Okay. All right, Mr. Samant, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Stock Markets. That's the word coming in from Sula Vineyards. They expect double-digit growth in the second half and margins around that 28 to 29% mark. We'll do one thing, slip into a short break, and on the other hand, we'll get stock-specific and talk about the fact that Reliance Industries has bought Metro Cash and Carry.
Indiabulls Housing Finance Limited announces a public issue of secured redeemable NCDs, offering coupon rate of up to 9.80% per annum and additional incentive of 0.25% per annum. Tranche 4 issue closes on Thursday, 22nd December. To subscribe, log on to indiabullshomeloans.com. For risk factors and more details, refer to Tranche 4 prospectus available on the websites of SEBI, Stock Exchange Company and the lead managers.
आज तबीयत ठीक नहीं लग रही, तुम ही सब काम निपटा दो ना। अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी MDF का लो एमिशन प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, हायर डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी है, यानी ये है जहाँ नो टेंशन वहाँ।
Low emission premium plus by Century ProWood.
Pooja, you left the job and still so cool?
Bro, new challenges bring new opportunities.
Oh really?
Seriously Rahul, my entire house, now it's an online retail store. Look.
Wow. But money?
Few years back, I'd invested my Diwali bonus.
And now you have LIC's ULIP plan Nivesh Plus. Invest once, get the benefit of both life insurance and maximized returns based on market trends.
One sec, Rahul.
Madam, you are double cool.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time. And say, I'm not done.
Once an investor has assessed their financial goals, timeframes, and risk appetite, the next step is to formulate a sound financial plan. It is important for investors to understand features of the financial products and whether they suit them, their investment philosophy, and risk profile. Smart investors do not base their financial decisions on tips, rumors, hearsay from neighbors, acquaintances, friends, or anyone who has anything to say. They do their own research or take advice from qualified and credible financial advisors. Always remember, it is important to choose the right financial products to meet your specific financial goals.
NSE द्वारा निवेशकों के हित में जारी।
झाके रे झाके झरोके से झाके देख के दम है छोटे बड़े सारे झाके रे झाके फ्यूचर को ये ताके तरक्की को टुक टुक हर कोई ताके झाके रे झाके
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
Welcome back. Well, Reliance has announced the acquisition of global food wholesaler Metro AG's India cash and carry business for a sum of over 2,800 crore rupees. Manglam is standing by at the big wall to tell us about this deal. Manglam?
Well, the news is official now. The company has informed the exchanges of them purchasing Metro Cash and Carry's India business. The deal was struck at a value of 2,850 odd crores. A little about Metro Cash and Carry. Of course, it's the Indian subsidiary of the global leading international food wholesaler. It entered India in 2003 and it was the first to introduce the cash and carry business to India itself. Where do the metrics for that company stand now? They have 31 large format stores. FY22 revenue was close to around 7,700 crores and they sell to kiranas and other small businesses as wholesalers. And this is where Reliance sees benefits. The biggest benefit they get, they further strengthen their physical store footprint. They give access to a wide network of Metro India's stores in prime locations. But importantly, they also get access to a large base of registered kiranas and institutional customers and a strong supplier network. And that exactly has been the case for Reliance, where they're eyeing the entire ecosystem. Analysts are looking at the scalability and synergies in this deal, and importantly also eyeing whether there would be any horizontal or vertical expansion of Metro Cash and Carry, which currently is into wholesale. Can it actually go ahead into retail or not? And that will be important because Reliance recently launched their FMCG brand Independence with a wide array of products like edible oils, pulses, grains, packaged food, etc. And it's this ecosystem that everyone is playing on. The Independence brand, of course, first launches in Gujarat, then scales nationally, and this asset will be important for them to scale that business nationally as well. They've been growing through acquisitions and tie-ups. This year itself, there was brands like Socio, Campa Cola, Pret a Manger brought by Reliance, and this over and above the near 10,000 crore investment that the company did in FY22. And of that, some of the important ones included the likes of 7-Eleven, Just Dial. We had a bunch of designer brands that came in, and Dunzo too. So what does all of this mean for Reliance? The big, the big ambition that Mukesh Ambani had given in the annual general meeting, saying that Reliance Retail will become the largest segment within the group. The company goes ahead and puts their money towards acquisitions. 2850 crores for a 7,700 crore rupee sales brand. Metro, not particularly bad. Analysts would just eye scalability and synergies.
Oh, yes, they will. Manglam, thank you so much for joining us and making sense of this recent acquisition. By the way, for the markets, we are still at the day's low. We have Nifty sitting with cuts of 80 points. Reliance is in the green right now. One of the few stocks which is doing well in trade today. Apart from that, we are seeing selling across the board. We also have Infosys, which is in the green right now. Kotak Mahindra Bank too has recovered a tad bit, but largely the texture of the market is towards the selling zone. For now, we'll take your leave on this edition of Chartbusters. Stay tuned. Trading Hour will take all the action ahead.